All right, a very good morning to everyone. The Second Region Child Protection Court number 1, Liberty County, is now in session. Okay, Ms. Moore, so you're gone too, right?
No, I'm actually standing in on Calderon.
Okay, for Miss Ms. Iverson.
Yes.
All right, and Ms.
Well, Judge, Ms. Jealous.
I understand. I've read your motion. Thank you, Ms. Iverson.
I'll argue my motion, but I just didn't want Jose to have to wait any longer to talk to you. So I asked Ms. Moore to remain in court in case you appointed her, since Ms. Wheeler can't be here.
Okay, all right. Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Iverson. And I believe JC is here. Ms. Foyle, good morning, and thank you.
Good morning.
Okay, so Ms. Edwards.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning. Are you our prosecutor for the day?
I am actually not. I am just here to observe if the court is comfortable with that. There should be another attorney from the department here to actually prosecute these cases.
Okay, very good, very good. You certainly may.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Hip.
Morning.
Last time we were here, I substituted Ms. Iverson for Mr. Buck for the child JC, whom I plan to confer with momentarily. Ms. Iverson subsequently filed a motion for substitution of her based on a conflict. And there was a suggestion, a joint suggestion by CASA and Ms. Iverson for me to consider appointing Ms. Purdue-Wheeler. My understanding is Ms. Purdue-Wheeler is unable to be here today, and Ms. Moore, who is here, at least for a little while this morning, I know she needs to be in Hardin County.
No, that was continued, Judge, so take your time.
Continued? Okay, all right. So my understanding is Ms. Moore stands ready to either be substituted in or to stand in for Ms. Purdue-Wheeler. So the child can be conferred with today. Is that close, Ms. Iverson?
It's almost. It's very close. Yeah, not quite. The only thing I would change is that I'd just like for Ms. Moore to be appointed, please.
Okay, all right.
But and obviously that's your discretion. That's just my request.
Okay, well, I certainly like my discretion to be informed by y'all's requests and so on.
Yes, yes, sir.
So, any objections, Mr. Hip or Ms. Moore at this point?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, all right. So, what I'm going to do is pause right here. I have your proposed order opened up, and so I will find good cause to deviate from our usual wheel and make this appointment from the bench. And I will appoint to you, Ms. Moore, and thank you very much for that and for being here. And so you would be ready to confer with the child and me momentarily?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, very good.
And Judge, he's present.
He's present. Is that what you said, Ms. Iverson?
Yes, sir. He's here.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I see the device that I think he's on, so bear with me just a moment.
And Your Honor, Mr. Mangum is on last 3208 by phone.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. So Ms. Moore, Ms. Foyle, and Mr. Mangum will be joining us, and of course our court reporter. So bear with me just a moment. I closed out the breakout room. I believe just about everybody. Wait another half minute, and everybody should be out of the breakout room. 83 in the interest of JC for a permanency review after final order. And let me get everyone who may testify. Who is our worker on JC's case?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Good morning, Judge. That's supposed to be Caleb Blanchard. I'm not sure if his supervisor on. There was some issues about the cases being transferred. I'm not sure. So let me try to get a hold of someone right now.
Okay, I believe, I think Ms. Francia Siebert was here last week on it. So we'll hold for that. Let's take announcements while we're waiting on Calderon. Number 4, Department of Family and Protective Services versus Alexander, Jordan, and Dugat. We have Ms. Tanner, we have Mr. Gott, and we have Ms. Trousdale. Is this agreed or contested?
It's contested, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And do we have Passion Alexander present?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Thank you. And Anthony Jordan? I see.
I'm here too.
Okay, very good. And all right, I will mark that as contested. We'll get back to it as soon as we can. Now, the number 5 where adversary, we have Ms. Tanner, we have Mr. Pouncil, we have Ms. Trousdale. That is cause number 2 for the interest of SW and EW. Is the mother Jennifer Kersey present? Jennifer Kersey?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And Austin Ware?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I have both of you marked present. Your attorneys are present as well. Ms. Tanner and or Mr. Pouncil, is this agreed or contested?
Your Honor, I haven't had the opportunity to speak to my client, so I'm not sure.
Okay, let me, Mr. Pouncil, great to see you. It appears that your clients are on the same device. So how about I put the 4 of you into a breakout room? Will that work?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Trousdale, really nothing for you to do right now. Do you need a breakout room with anyone? Well, you're muted. I'm sure it's a wonderful speech.
Sorry, Judge. No, I was just saying with the department, but if you need them to move forward with hearings, that's okay.
I don't think we can move forward with either case at this time.
So do you all need a breakout room? Is that what you're saying?
That would, yes, sir, for a few minutes, if that's okay.
You and Mr. Hip?
That's okay. I imagine he may need his caseworkers to answer some questions.
Okay. And so
I'll leave that to him. I don't.
Okay, what
You
case?
need me?
Where?
On the where matter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Hip, whom would you like to join you all on where? I see Ms. Mays.
Celeste, I believe, is the caseworker.
And Ms. Garzoria.
Okay, do I see her? Maybe she's under a number this time. Ms. Moore and Ms. Williams.
Yes, Judge.
Do you think one of you could reach out to Mr. Hip? He's in a breakout room right now in another case, and suggest a reset in the Calderon matter if we're not going to have work.
Yes, I'll do that right now.
To 5/16. It's an afternoon docket and it's virtual. Ms. Tanner, Mr. Pouncil, is the adversary contested or agreed?
Your Honor, it's contested. And with that being said, we'll like to ask the court for some additional time. I believe this case has been filed, but the children were actually removed yesterday. So if the court could grant us a short reset for us to look into the matter, we'll appreciate it.
Okay, any objections to that, Mr. Hip, Ms. Trousdale?
I'll be quite honest with you. One of the Liberty deputies that I need is on his way to Hawaii today, and I'd like to have him. So no, I don't have any objection to that.
I don't have an objection. I would just like to ensure there's no contact between the parents and the children until we come back.
And Your Honor, I would object to the no contact. I would ask, these children are 4 and 2 years old. I would ask for them to be allowed to have a supervised visit with CPS supervising if that's possible.
Okay, so I'll take that up. I'll take that up momentarily. That single narrow issue. When if I signed the order on April the 30th. Mr. Hip, do you envision the deputy testifying virtually from Hawaii or anywhere in between?
I think he'll be back on the 15th.
He'll be back on the 15th. Okay. Will he be available on the 16th?
Beats me.
Attorneys, would you all be available on the morning of Friday, May the 17th?
Judge, I literally just had a mediation booked 10 minutes ago. Just for that morning, I'm available the afternoon.
I'm available, Your Honor.
I have the luxury of not having anything to do scheduled after today.
Okay, so the afternoon of the 17th is a possibility. Ms. Tanner, how is the afternoon of the 17th, May the 17th for you? That's a Friday.
I'm available, Your Honor.
Okay. If we cannot get a courtroom for that afternoon, are you all agreeable to a virtual adversary?
No problem.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't have any objection to that, Judge.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I think we can probably just go ahead and do a virtual adversary and not have to schedule a courtroom that day.
Okay. Did in the where matter, yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that would be with the court extending the emergency temporary orders. So the request has been made by the children's attorney that no contact with the parents occur until the full adversary hearing could be had. So there's not apparently an agreement to do that. So let me take some testimony. And so, Mr. Hip and or Ms. Trousdale, if you want to call your first, and I'll swear them in.
Okay.
What are we doing?
I can do it. Richard, I'm just asking for no contact visits between the parents and the kids. And so I don't mind calling a witness.
Go. Go.
Yeah, I would like to call Miss Domer.
Yeah, I don't think it's like she's not connected to audio. Ms. Domer, can you hear me? Ms. Domer, wave your hand if you can hear me. This is Judge Lockwood. Is she the placement, Ms. Trousdale?
She is.
Is she a relative?
She is the paternal grandmother.
Okay.
I believe the maternal grandmother, Eva Brooks, may be with her as well. I could call either of them. I can tell you, Judge, my concern is drug use. If the parents and the clients, the parents' attorneys may be opposed. If they're willing to do a drug test today, then I wouldn't object to supervised visits. But my concern is the serious drug use.
And Your Honor, I would object. There's been no evidence presented of the alleged drug usage. And there are plenty of parents who have those allegations who still visit with their children and don't have absolutely no contact visits whatsoever.
Okay, all right, stand by. Okay, I'm going to remove your device and allow you to call back in, okay? I can't hear you, and I'm the world's worst lip reader. I don't know if the investigator can provide any assistance to Ms. Dome.
I can call Celeste.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Ms. Domer?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see if we can take your testimony over the phone and get your video back too.
Okay.
Ms. Trousdale, the children's attorney, has called you to testify. Ms. Trousdale, you may proceed.
Ms. Domer, would you state your full name for the court, please?
Tina Marie Domer.
And Ms. Domer, what's your relationship to these children?
I'm their grandmother.
Okay. And are you the respondent, father's, Mr. Austin's mother?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So you're the paternal grandmother to these children?
Yes, ma'am.
And how are the children now placed with you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Are the children now placed with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long have they been in your home?
1 day. Since birth.
Okay. So they were placed with you yesterday, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have the children lived with you before?
They lived with me mostly all of their life.
Okay. You said they were placed with you yesterday. How long have they been out of your home?
Since the end of March.
And do you know where these children were from the end of March until yesterday?
I know a couple of places they were, yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have personal knowledge. In other words, did you see the children in those places?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where were the children?
First they were with Amber Jamarillo. And that's where they went to when they left my home. And then they were at Jonathan Myers is where they were collected from. In between there, they were placed with Jennifer's mother, Eva Brooks, but Jennifer left there with the children one night in a storm.
Okay.
They have a friend named, her name is Ashley. I'm not sure what her last name is, but she stayed there sometimes. That's all that I'm aware of.
Have you spoken with the parents? So have the children been out of your home for approximately 5 to 6 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you spoken with the parents in that time, in that 5 to 6 weeks?
We brought diapers and toys
Objection,
and clothes.
non-responsive.
I am responding.
Hold on.
Objection, non-responsive.
Ms. Domer?
Yes. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so I sustained the objection. So listen very closely. I know you're on the phone. Listen very closely and answer only what you're being asked.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one more time, Ms. Trousdale, please, ma'am.
Ms. Domer, I just yes or no, please. Did you speak with the parents in the 5 to 6 week period? Okay. Did you physically see the parents during that 5 to 6 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when the children did live with you, did the parents also live there?
Yes.
Now, did the parents live in your home or did they just live on your property?
Both.
When they lived in your home or on your property, did you see them on a daily basis?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Domer, if you know personally, do these parents have a history of drug use?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to take the witness on voir dire to determine her personal knowledge.
My personal knowledge?
Hold on a second.
Ms. Domer, hold on. So
okay.
That's going to be denied at this time. So Ms. Trousdale, you may continue.
Now, Ms. Domer, has your son ever admitted to you that he's used drugs?
Yes.
Your Honor, can we get a time frame?
I'm getting there, Judge.
Ms. Domer, is Ms. Brooks helping you with the children right now?
She's just here in case they want to ask questions. My husband's in the yard with the babies.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Trousdale, whenever you're ready.
Ms. Domer, you said that your son, Mr. Ware, has admitted to you to using drugs in the past. When is the last time that he admitted that to you?
A few weeks ago, all the time.
Okay.
Well,
And
I haven't got to speak to him hardly, except for him to tell me I
Objection,
can't.
not responsive.
Sustained as to the last statement.
okay. So, Ms. Domer.
Yes.
Have you spoken to your son in the last 2 months?
Yes.
Okay. In those last 2 months, has he admitted to drug use?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
In the last 2 months, has your son admitted to drug use?
Yes.
Okay. And did he say what drugs he was using?
No.
Has the mother, Jennifer Kersey, ever admitted to you to using drugs?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had a discussion with her, or has she admitted to that in the last 2 months?
She hasn't spoke to me.
Okay. Now, you stated you saw these parents on a regular basis.
Yes.
Based on conversations and your observations, could you tell when either one of these parents were under the influence?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection calls for speculation and calls for an expert opinion.
Overruled.
We.
Okay, it's okay. Hold on. Domer. Ms. Domer,
Yes.
when you would speak to these parents, or you saw these parents and you suspected they were under the influence, what made you suspect they were under the influence?
We've been watching them do it for years and years, and we recognize when they're high.
Okay, so I'm asking specifically, what do you observe that causes you to think they're under the influence?
They are very disrespectful, fighting, cussing, yelling, screaming at the baby, screaming at us, screaming at each other. Go to sleep for days at a time or awake for days at a time.
Is there anything about their physical appearance?
Oh, yeah. Jennifer, when she's doing it all the time, she loses a lot of weight and she gets angry and confrontational. And Austin, he gets confrontational, stumbles, stutters, slurs his words, and looks unkept. And also, if he is doing meth, he has a bad body odor.
Have you observed any of those characteristics in them in the last 2 months?
Yes.
When's the last time you physically saw either one of these parents?
Last night.
Where did you see them?
They were walking down the road in our neighborhood.
Do they live nearby?
They live about a quarter of a mile back in our neighborhood.
Okay. So it wouldn't be unusual for them to be walking through the neighborhood?
No.
Okay. Did you come in contact with them, or did you just observe them from your house?
Yes. They were yelling. We couldn't hear them because it's about 30 yards from the road, and we had a window unit up here. But they were yelling something at us.
Objection, non-responsive. She
Hello?
just said she couldn't hear them.
Sustained.
No, I didn't.
Okay, it's okay.
Clearly.
Your
They
Honor,
were
I'm
yelling.
going to object
And I-
to argue.
Ms. Domer, hold on just a second.
Yes.
Wait, hold on,
Okay.
wait, Judge.
Okay.
All right, sustained. Wait for the next question, Ms. Domer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Domer, now you stated you couldn't hear what they were saying last night.
Correct.
But did you observe their actions?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you see?
They were walking. I could see there was another person with them also, but I could see someone had a cell phone. And I just told them to continue walking. I don't know if they heard me or
Objection,
not.
non-responsive. She
Overruled.
asked what they saw.
Overruled.
Okay.
Continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They were walking, yelling something at us. It wasn't, you couldn't understand it because we were so far away. And they just continued walking until they were out of sight.
Okay. So other than last night, when was the last time you saw them? Other than last night?
I saw Austin twice yesterday, Jennifer a couple times while the CPS worker was here. They were walking by.
Okay. Have you come in physical contact with these parents in the last 4 to 6 weeks?
Yes.
And do you recall when?
It's several times, but no.
Okay. And any time in the last 4 to 6 weeks, did you see aggressive behavior between the parents, either toward you or toward each other?
Yes.
Did you witness either parent having a difficult time walking or being able to handle objects or anything like that, being overly clumsy?
Yes.
Objection leading.
Say that again, please, Mr. Pouncil.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Go ahead, Ms. Domer.
Yes, ma'am. I've seen them walking down the road with the babies in a wagon.
Objection, non-responsive after yes.
Sustained.
Judge,
I don't know what that means.
Just a moment.
Judge, I apologize. Can I have, my charger isn't working. Can I have just 60 seconds to change out my cord?
You may.
I'm sorry. Well, okay. Thank you, Judge.
There we go. Stand by for the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Domer, did you have an occasion to actually speak with these parents in the last 4 to 6 weeks? And I don't mean that they're yelling at you, you couldn't hear them. Did you have a conversation with either one of these parents in the last 4 to 6 weeks?
No.
Have either one of these parents admitted to you to using methamphetamines?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. That's different from her prior testimony, where she said they admitted that the father admitted to drug usage, but not the drug.
No.
Okay, overruled for the time being.
And Your Honor, can I get a time frame?
Yes.
Has your son admitted to you in the last 6 months to using methamphetamines?
Yes.
Well, was the admission in the last 6 months? And if so, to what time frame did the admission relate?
Okay. So Ms. Domer, did you have a conversation with your son in the last 6 months where he admitted that he had used methamphetamines?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ask him when he had used the meth?
No.
In your conversation, if you know, did he give a time frame of when he had used the methamphetamines? In other words, had it been recent? Did he indicate to you that it had been recent use? Or did he indicate to you that it was in the past? Or was there no indication of actually when it happened?
Recent. When? I'm not sure because, we haven't had a conversation for 5 or 6 weeks other than them yelling at us that we couldn't see the children. Before that, yes, ma'am. Several times.
He's admitted to you several times to drug use.
Yes.
Okay. And he has admitted specifically to using methamphetamines.
Yes.
Did you ask him specifically if he had used meth?
Did I ask him? No.
Okay. That's information he offered up to you?
Objection
Yes.
Your Honor, is it possible to read back her prior testimony from earlier in the hearing? Because to me, she's changed her testimony multiple times.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
It's not. Ms. Domer, don't argue with me. It's not possible to read back at this time, Ms. Tanner, but you can have her on cross, hopefully momentarily.
Yes, sir.
And Judge, I know this this testimony is not easy to hear, but would you please instruct the respondents to stop responding with head nods and such?
Ms. Kersey, Mr. Ware, I know you're physically in your home or someplace other than the physical courtroom, but you are actually in court, and you need to comport yourselves as if you are, because you are. So I'm going to ask you one time to refrain from any physical responses, shaking of your head or the like, or anything, okay? Because the court is taking notice of that, and you will get your opportunity at some point to relay your side of the story. So are we clear? Now you can shake your head. Yes, if we're clear. All right.
And Your Honor, if I could likewise get an instruction to the witness to answer the questions that are put before her and not argue with counsel when I make objections.
Well, I think I have done that, and so we'll see if it suffices. I trust that it will.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Judge, I will pass this witness at this time.
Okay.
Judge, I'm sorry, one more question.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I always got you. Ms. Domer, do you feel that it would be in the children's best interest if the parents not have physical contact with the children at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. And why is that, Ms. Domer?
They were living in a safe place with the children, and actually she left in the middle of a stormy night walking with the children to wherever they went. I looked for them, could not find them. But at the present time, when they were removed yesterday, they were living in the neighborhood drug dealer's house. And we offered many times, just let the children come home. You can come see them. And they wouldn't let them see me or Jennifer's mother. Wouldn't leave them with us. They kept them in a dangerous place on purpose.
Okay. And that's why you don't believe they should have physical contact with the children for now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Tanner.
Yes, Your Honor. Could we please instruct the witness to turn her camera on?
I don't know how. I'm afraid I will hang up.
If she can, it was on earlier.
Yes, it was.
I think she's on her phone now, Judge. I think she called in.
Right. But I think the other device is still connected. And if you'll take a look at the screen on that other device, the one, the Motorola.
That's the one I'm on, sir. Well, my husband is a Motorola also. Let me check. My screen is completely black, and this is the first time I've ever done this, so I don't want to get disconnected.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Are you speaking to me on the telephone, and was that the device that you were connected to video earlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, look at your screen. I'm going to ask you to start your, bear with me. I'm going to ask you to start your video. See if there is a place on the screen.
My screen is completely black. Do I push the on button to go back? I'm not sure. I've never.
I think she's called in, Judge, and is the Motorola that says it's trying to connect, is that also hers? Is that what you're saying, Judge Lockwood?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to, I'm not sure. Let's see. When I go to Zoom, it just has a bunch of phone numbers.
Okay.
We can see her.
Hello.
Okay. Don't do anything else to your phone for the time being. And so then with that, Ms. Tanner, you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Ms. Dormer, you are saying that they were in the local drug dealer's house, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know that that's the local drug dealer because you've purchased drugs from that person?
No. He's been my son's best friend.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained after no.
Okay. Have you been to that home and seen drugs? Yes or no, ma'am?
Wait, have I seen them?
Have you been to that home and seen drugs being sold there?
No,
Okay. So you have no personal knowledge of any drug usage or drug selling going on from that home, correct?
no,
Okay. Have you personally seen drugs being sold from that home?
no,
Okay. Then you have no personal knowledge. Isn't that right?
no, it's not right.
Okay. So, ma'am, personal knowledge means something that you have physically seen, not something you've heard from someone, not something you've inferred from someone. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Okay. And you've not seen any drugs being sold from that home.
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay.
They
Now,
don't do
Ms.
it.
Dormer, isn't it true? I'm sorry.
No, they're not doing it when I'm there.
Okay, ma'am, could you please contain yourself to just the questions that have been asked of you?
Yes,
Okay, so you're upset because your grandchildren were taken from your home and you weren't able to see them. Is that correct?
part of it, yes,
Okay. And so when the children were returned to you, that was by CPS, isn't that right?
yes,
Okay. That was not the parents did not bring those children back to you, CPS did.
no, they didn't.
Okay. Now, Ms. Dormer, isn't it true that your son suffers from a medical condition?
Yes,
Okay, and what's that medical condition?
it's called, it has never been documented or tested by geneticists. It is an inherited disorder that you can get from your father. It is called spinal cerebral ataxia.
Okay, so you're saying that that's what he has, but you've never had him tested.
Yes,
Have you ever taken him to a doctor for that while he was a child?
yes,
Okay, so have you ever noticed your son to have an unsteady gait or have issues with his physical abilities due to the spinal cerebral ataxia?
yes.
Okay. What is your current employment?
I'm retired.
Okay. What did you do before you were retired?
I was a mom,
Okay.
a grandma.
Okay. Do you have any specialized medical knowledge?
Of my children?
Do you have any specialized medical knowledge, ma'am? That's what I'm asking.
Of what they have? I don't understand. And
Do
my
you
doctor
have any
knows.
Okay. Do you have any medical training?
No.
Okay.
Yes, to care for my children. We were taught how to do that.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained after no.
Okay. You ever been to medical school, ma'am?
Yes, actually.
Okay. So you have a medical degree?
No.
Okay. What medical
I've
school
been,
did you go to?
I just went to get the certification to be an EKG specialist technician.
Okay. So you are certified to run an EKG.
No, COVID came and they closed down the school, and that part hasn't been reinstated.
So you have no medical certification. Is that right? You don't
No.
have any?
That's correct.
Okay. So, ma'am, how are you able to determine the difference in your son's condition that is attributable to his cerebral ataxia and to what you're calling his drug usage?
Because he's 32 years old and I've been watching him his whole life. And when he's drunk or high, it's different.
Okay.
He can't.
Different how?
He can't hardly speak. He can't hardly stand up. He falls constantly, hurts himself.
Okay.
Makes really poor decisions.
Okay. And so the falling and the hurting himself, that's not attributable to his cerebral ataxia.
Under normal himself, yes.
Okay. So he falls and hurts himself due to his condition, correct?
Sometimes.
Okay. Is it your desire to retain custody of these children?
Yes.
Okay. You want to raise these kids, is that right?
I want their parents to raise them, but they're not capable.
Objection non-responsive. After I want their parents to raise them.
I do not.
Okay. Now, you said that your son admitted to using methamphetamines to you. Exactly when was that?
I am not sure.
Okay.
He's been doing it since he was 12.
Objection non-responsive after I'm not sure.
Sustained.
And Your Honor, could the witness please be instructed to only answer the questions that are asked?
Ms. Domer, again, listen very carefully to what you're being asked and then answer only what you're being asked.
Okay.
So, Ms. Dormer, you previously stated that you hadn't talked to either Ms. Kersey or your son in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Is that correct?
No. I have spoken to Austin, not a con.
I did not hear what you said, ma'am.
I have spoken to Austin, not a conversation, just a couple of sentences. And Jennifer hasn't spoke to me at all.
Okay. So when did you speak to Mr. Ware?
Yesterday, last night.
Okay. But prior to that, you had not spoken to him in 4 to 6 weeks. Is that right?
No, I spoke to him the day before.
The day before yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost daily.
Almost daily when, ma'am?
When he goes past our home, he gets in our mailbox every day, and we have to tell him to get out.
Okay. Does he receive mail at your home?
No, he's not supposed to. Yeah, there's junk mail that comes.
Does he receive mail at your home? That's my question.
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that there's a lot of animosity between yourself and your son and Miss Kersey?
No, not on my end.
Okay, so you, as far as you're concerned, you have no issues with them whatsoever. You guys get along great.
Except for this, yes. Always
Okay.
have.
Okay. And Ms. Dormer, you've not been to visit either parent where they currently live. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
Okay. When's the last time you visited them there?
About 3 days ago.
Okay. Were you invited in the home?
No, I dropped off diapers and stuff for the children. That's it.
Okay. Did you have a conversation with either parent while you were there?
Just Austin telling me I wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay. So they told you that they didn't want you to be there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did that cause animosity between yourself and the parents?
Only that they didn't want to get the children's diapers and stuff that I was dropping off.
Okay. So were you upset they didn't want to take anything from you or to speak with you?
Yes.
Okay. Did they let you see the children while you were there?
No, I didn't see the babies.
Okay. And did
I
that
just
upset
handed
you?
off the stuff.
Okay. And did that upset you they didn't let you see your grandchildren?
Of course.
Okay.
It wasn't new. I mean,
Okay.
Can I say something?
No, ma'am. There's not a question before you right now. Okay. When is the last time you spoke with Miss Kersey?
3 weeks ago.
Okay. And did you guys have a conversation?
No.
Okay. Where was it that you spoke to Miss Kersey?
They were walking the children down the road in a wagon. It's called
Okay.
Low Water Bridge Road.
Okay. And what was the context of that conversation?
She didn't want to talk to me.
Okay. Do you and Miss Kersey get along?
Yes.
Okay. Before the time that you spoke with her while she was walking the children down the road, when's the last time you had spoken with her?
A few days before that, 3 or 4 days maybe.
Okay. Have you ever physically seen Miss Kersey do drugs?
Seen her smoke pot.
And when was that?
3 weeks ago. 4 weeks, no, I mean 3 weeks before they left here.
Okay, and was that in your home?
No,
Okay, where was that?
next door at my friend Vicky's house.
Okay, your friend Vicky.
It's her friend Vicky too. They call her Aunt Vicky.
Okay. And they were living with you at that time?
I'm sorry.
Were they living with you at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Or Ms. Domer, are you referring to March? Is this back in March you're talking about?
Yes. Before they moved out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pouncil.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, Ms. Dahmer. I am your son's attorney.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good morning, I should say. I got a couple questions. I'm going to ask you about your son as well, Mr. Austin Ware. Have you seen him use any drugs?
Yes.
Okay, and then what can you give the circumstances on when you saw him use drugs?
Around the same time that I saw Jennifer.
Okay, and where was that at, ma'am?
Outside the bedroom window at my home, or their bedroom window.
So it was in your home?
Outside their window in their bedroom at my home.
Okay, so it was outside of the home?
Yes.
Okay, and when was this?
Oh, 3 or 4 days before they moved out.
Okay, it's back.
It's happened a lot. Yes, sir.
Okay, but since March until today's date, have you seen him use any drugs?
Not since they moved out, no.
Okay, just want to be clear. And were you using drugs with him?
No,
Okay, and how did you know it was drugs?
because he was smoking weed out of a pipe.
Okay, and did anyone from, let me ask you, do you understand that the parents are asking to have visits with their children until we come back to court? Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, and you don't think that's a good idea?
Only because we're trying to get the children settled down, calm down to being home and not with them. They took them to dangerous places, and yes, I don't think they should be with them currently.
Did anyone explain to you what if they were to have visits, did anyone explain to you like how the visits would be going, or where would it be where would they take place, or anything like that?
Celeste, the CPS worker, said it would be in a couple of weeks at a CPS office. Yes.
Okay. And
like 4 or 5 weeks away, I think it would probably be okay. Just right now, they're still so upset about, everything.
Okay. So your concern isn't so much about the children's safety. It's just more, you just don't think that right now is a good time until the children settle down. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Pouncil?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but everything froze on my end. And so I missed everything after the witness said 4 or 5 weeks of, and then you all froze.
Okay. 4 or 5 weeks. I can't. So, ma'am, you in terms of the 4 or 5 weeks.
Yes.
Well, let me go back a little bit. Just to be clear, based on your testimony you just told me, your main concern about the children not having contact, or sorry, your main concern about the children having contact with the parents isn't based on safety. It's just you would like for the children to settle down before they have contact with their parents. Is that correct?
For the supervised visitation, yes.
Okay. All right. So, and then you were made aware by the CPS caseworker that it would be supervised, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I just
And-
don't want the children to go back and be upset and have to calm down all over again.
Okay. So you worry about the children having to calm down, like go see their parents and then come back to you and calm down and you have to calm them down, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
But we don't know that that will happen. You just kind of taking a guess and saying, well, that may happen. That may occur, correct?
I'm pretty sure it will. Yes.
Okay. And well, is it because the children enjoy being around their parents?
Objection.
No, just because there are
Speculate.
more people.
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained. Somebody, whoever knows, the children were removed from the parents physically yesterday.
Yes,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Thank you, Judge. So, and you're aware that that CPS it'll be supervised and that they wouldn't be able to take the children and run off with the children. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand it.
Okay. All right. So, and I also want to ask you the children, how they their interaction with the parents. Did the children appear to be excited to see their parents and bonded with their parents?
You mean their entire life or just now?
Well, let's just keep it now, this time frame.
Like when the parents walked by last night, the children were outside on the porch with us and we were telling them to go on. And Elizabeth, the 4-year-old, kept saying, no, mommy, no. She did not want her mommy to come up here. So I'm just going by her reaction to last night.
Okay. And prior to last night, did the parents and children seem to bond with each other?
Yes.
Okay. And so again, your concern is mainly that you just want the children to settle down and before a visit take place, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Your Honor, pass witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hip.
No questions.
Okay. Thank you.
I have 2 or 3 more questions, Your Honor. They'll be brief.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Okay.
Let me see, Ms. Trousdale, do you have any?
It's okay. I do, Judge.
Okay.
Ms. Domer, how do you know Jonathan Myers?
We lived in the same neighborhood their entire life. He's even lived at my house a few times as a small child. So I've always known him.
Is
He's
he
Austin's best friend.
is he about the same age as Austin?
Yes.
And have Jonathan and Austin been friends since they were young?
Yes.
Has Austin ever told you that Jonathan does drugs?
Yes.
Has Austin ever told you that Jonathan sells drugs?
Yes.
You're leading, Your Honor.
I just asked if he ever said if he
Overruled. Overruled.
You can answer.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Has Austin ever told you that Jonathan sells drugs?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was that conversation, if you recall?
Sometime during the past 8 months, maybe.
So in the past year, he has told you these things about Jonathan Myers.
Yes.
During that same time frame, has Austin ever admitted to you that he and or Jennifer do drugs with Jonathan?
Yes.
Has he ever admitted that they've purchased drugs from Jonathan?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Has he ever admitted that he's hold on? Has he ever admitted that he's sold?
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Has he ever admitted to you that he's sold drugs to Jonathan Myers?
No.
How far does Jonathan Myers live from your home?
Half a mile.
Have you ever been in Jonathan Myers' home?
No.
Have you ever been to the residence?
Yes,
When's the last time you were at the residence?
about 3 or 4 days ago.
Were the children there?
I could hear them.
You didn't see them, but you could hear them.
I did not see them. So, can I speak?
Yeah,
Object.
just a second. You did not see them, but you heard them. Is that what you stated?
Yes,
Okay. And you believe that you would recognize your grandchildren's voices?
yes.
Okay.
They were calling me.
Okay. Did you see anyone else, or did you see anyone at the home?
There, I believe he's Jonathan's brother. His name is Hunter.
Non-responsive, Your Honor.
Just yes or no for now. Did you see anyone? Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Who did you see at the home? If you know who it is.
Hunter.
Hunter?
Yes.
Do you have a last name?
I don't know his last name, but he's Jonathan's brother.
Objection, non-responsive.
Okay. Judge, she was answering my question.
True.
That's Jonathan Myers' brother.
Yes.
And what was Hunter doing when you saw him?
He came out to get a bag of stuff I was dropping off for the children.
Okay. Did you at that time request to see the children?
No.
Did you request to talk to either Austin or Jennifer?
Hunter said they weren't there, and I didn't hear
Objection,
them.
non-responsive.
Okay. Okay.
Sustained.
Did you see Austin or Jennifer?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, does Austin or Jennifer have a vehicle?
No.
At any point during the CPS investigation, has Austin admitted to you that CPS is investigating?
Yes.
Did he ever tell you he had spoken with CPS?
Yes.
Did he ever tell you that they had requested a drug test from him?
Yes.
Did he tell you whether or not he tested? Yes or
He
no?
said he did. Oh, no.
He said he did not test.
Yes. Correct.
Did you ask him why he did not test?
Yes.
And what did he say?
No response.
When was that, if you remember?
I'm not sure. He's told me that more than once, but I'm not sure of the
Objection,
date.
non-responsive after I'm not sure.
Sustained. And Ms. Trousdale, once again, my screen froze. So I did not hear the answer to whether Mr. Ware told his mother if he tested or not for CPS.
Okay. Ms. Ware,
Yes.
did your son tell you whether or not he tested? Judge did not hear your answer.
He told me he did not.
Okay. And when you asked, did you ask him why he didn't?
Yes, I did.
And what was his response?
He was not responsive. Nothing. Just looked at the ground.
That was it, Judge.
Okay. Did he tell you whether or not Ms. Kersey tested?
Yes, he told me she did not.
Did he tell you why?
Same, no response.
Okay.
On a separate, they've told us that they're.
No, that's okay. Wait for question and answer. Wait for the next question, if any. Okay, Ms. Tanner, very quickly, please, because I want to give, obviously we have a contested hearing, and after this, I also have a 2 o'clock docket. So
Yes,
I want to give you and Mr. Pouncil a chance to call your clients briefly, if you wish.
Yes, sir.
Again, on this narrow issue.
Yes. So, Ms. Stormer, how long, if you know, what is the longest amount of time these children have been away from their parents?
I do not know.
So, as far as you know, this day that the time that you've had them is the longest amount of time these kids have been away from their parents. Isn't that right?
They've been at their other grandmother's.
Okay. So ma'am, either you do know the longest time or you don't.
I don't know the longest.
Okay. So if you don't, then as far as you know, the longest time they've been away from these children is the time period that you've had them, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
I said as far as she knew, Your Honor.
Well, I think she said, I don't know already, but I'm going to overrule the objection. You may answer that. Go ahead.
I know they have left them, but I am not aware of the amount of time or when it was. It's
So
always
objection
occurred.
non-responsive.
Don't know what to answer.
Okay. So you would agree with me that these children have spent a significant amount of time with their parents?
No.
Objection calls for speculation. Judge, she's
Okay.
already stated she doesn't know.
Sustained.
No.
So when they were living with you, they didn't spend any time with their parents?
Most of their time was spent with me.
Okay. And these children are how old?
2 and 4.
Okay. And would you agree with me that it would be detrimental for a 2 and 4-year-old to have absolutely no contact with their parent?
No.
Okay. So you don't think that it's beneficial for this 2 and 4-year-old to have any contact with their parents?
I agree. Yes.
Okay. And is part of the reasoning is because you're upset because they wouldn't let you see your grandchildren?
No.
You would agree with me, you are upset with them for not allowing them you to see your grandchildren, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Tanner,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to need to move on to your clients if you all wish to call them. So
Yes, sir.
right now, however, let me see if Celeste Williams, Ms. Williams, if I
Yes,
can
sir.
unmute. Were you sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I just need to know at this point whether you're going to be in charge of any visits, if any, between now and the adversary hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, with the recent flooding and the challenges that's brought, logistically, do you have a place where any supervised visits would be had?
Yes, sir. We can hold the visits either at the Crosby DFPS location or the Liberty DFPS location.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Thank you. All right. I wanted to get that out of the way. So, Ms. Trousdale, can we move on to the parents, if at all?
Yes, sir. I had one question for her I think is important. If I could just ask her this one last question.
From Ms. Domer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll give you and the other 3 attorneys one more question.
Ms. Domer,
Yes.
you stated earlier that you saw both Austin and Jennifer using drugs, specifically Austin smoking from a pipe, a few days before they left your home.
Yes.
Were the children present, either in the home or around the home? Were they in the parents' care? Ma'am?
I'm sorry.
They were
inside the room and he was on the outside of the window.
Okay. Thank
you.
The
same room.
Pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tanner.
This was at your friend Vicky's house. Do you allow the children to go there?
Judge, that's a mischaracterization of her answer. I think there were 2 different places that she saw these parents.
Okay, so Miss Trysdale, she testified to seeing them use drugs at 2 separate places?
Yes.
Okay. And so where you're alleging that the mother used drugs at Vicky's house, do you allow the children to go there?
When they're smoking pot?
Yes
No.
or no? Do you allow the children to go to Vicky's house? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pouncil.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hip.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Tanner, Mr. Pouncil, do you want to call your clients or not?
Your Honor, I don't intend to call my client.
Okay. All right.
I don't know that it would be helpful at this point, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do we have time, however, for like a brief argument, Your Honor?
Ever so briefly. So I don't think that I need it, but I think the only way to determine whether I do is to hear them. So we'll start with Mr. Hip. Do you want to offer any now or reserve?
Reserve.
Okay, thank you. Then Ms. Trousdale, Ms. Tanner, and then Mr. Pouncil, and then Mr. Hip.
And Judge, I think I could be very brief. I understand that Ms. Domer's primary concern is these children getting settled in. And although that is important, my concern is that if these parents have been using meth, I do not believe that these children should be exposed to that. We know the dangers, even if the parents haven't used today and having a visit. So until that's determined, I would ask that there not be physical contact. I wouldn't object to any virtual visits. If the court does allow in-person visits, I would just ask that they be at the CPS office, supervised by the department, and that the parents be instructed to wear PPE until it can be determined, if it can be determined if they've been using meth. That's why I asked on behalf of the children.
All right. Is Ms. Trousdale, is it fair to say that but for your concerns for methamphetamine, you would not be asking for this no contact order?
It's the primary reason. I think if they're supervised at the CPS office, if there is any aggressive behaviors, that will be dealt with. That does concern me.
Well, I'm sure not going to let grandmas supervise.
Well, even between the parents, but
Right.
my primary concern is the meth.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ms. Tanner?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Dormer's changed her testimony multiple times within this hearing. She's testified different ways. I don't believe that there's been any evidence presented that either parent has used methamphetamine. And we also, Your Honor, we don't predicate a parent's visit based upon the comfort level of the placement and whether or not she has to calm the children down afterwards. They are 2 and 4 years old. I've had clients in other cases that are much younger that still visit with their parents where there's actually documented methamphetamine usage. There are ways that we can guard against that if that's a concern without alienating these children from their parents. And I would ask that the visits be held at the CPS office, supervised by CPS. My client's currently living in Cleveland. We would ask that CPS try to hold that visit in an office that's as close to them as possible. I don't know if that would be the Cleveland office or Crosby, and that they may have possible transportation issues, and that if CPS is willing, that they provide transportation for the parents. But I think it's important for a 2 and a 4-year-old to see their parents.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Mr. Pouncil?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to piggyback off of Ms. Tanner's argument, but double down on the fact that this court has not heard, or the record is not going to reflect any evidence to support the parents use meth. I don't know where that came from. I know it may have mentioned, but I just don't think there's sufficient evidence to say that the parents actually use meth. And also, again, from Mr. Ware, I asked that he's allowed to have supervised visits, CPS office that's closer to their residence. Also, I would like to add if there's a way that CPS could help in transporting the parents or doing something so they can have that visit. I would ask for that from the board as well. Yeah, I believe that this would be in the best interest of the children. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hip.
Just a couple of things. Cleveland office doesn't have a visitation room, and CPS can't provide transportation for these parents. So beyond that, I disagree with Mr. Pouncil. The grandmother stated that the father that both parents had admitted marijuana use. I mean, excuse me, methamphetamine use. So beyond that, that's all I have. CPS cannot transport these parents.
Okay, and why is that, Mr. Hip? Is
a safety concern.
All right. Okay. All right, thank you all. Okay, thank you all very much. Based on the evidence, the best interest of the children, and the safety of the children, first, the court is going to hereby order the parents, Jennifer Kersey and Austin Ware, to submit to urinalyses by the end of testing today. I am ordering that no hair follicles be requested by the department at this time. Though this might have felt at times like an adversary hearing, we've not had the full adversary hearing, obviously. So again, both parents are ordered to submit to urinalyses by the end of testing today. If they do not, there shall be no contact, no visits with the children until further order of the court. Now, if they submit to said urinalyses and they are negative for methamphetamine, or if one is and the other isn't, then that person may exercise, or the parents may exercise an in-person visit. If one or both are positive for methamphetamine on said urinalyses, then both parents shall wear full PPEs, long pants, long shirts, face mask, gloves, full PPEs, and it's conjunctive. They do not present under the influence for the visit. They may have 1 2-hour visit supervised at a place designated by the department prior to the full adversary on 5/17 at 1:30, which again will be virtual. All right, so that's the order of the court. Okay, so mom and dad, you all are, I know transportation is an issue with you all. So the department is not obliged to provide that. So somehow you're going to have to marshal your resources and resourcefulness and your support system who are appropriate to get to your drug tests if you want to visit, and then get to the visit under those conditions set forth and ordered by the court just now. Okay, anything else from anyone else?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I have a question. The location, do we know what the location is going to be for the drug test right now, or we don't know that yet?
If the department has that information right now, that would be ideal.
Your Honor, they can either go to the location in Liberty, or I believe there's a location in Cleveland. We just need to check to make sure that they're open.
Okay, can we do that in real time, like right now? See if the Cleveland facility is open. I assume that would be closest for the parents.
Yes, Your
Yes,
Honor.
give me one. Okay, Judge, the location is open.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's called Porter Drug and Alcohol Screens in Cleveland.
Okay. Do you all, mom and dad, do you know where that is? Do we have an address?
6323.
Okay, and thank you for that. How soon can the 2054s be in place?
We can have them there within 30 minutes.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, so you all will need to get there before testing time is over, and that's usually over 30 minutes to an hour before the official closing time. So Ms. Garzoria, is investigations able to do instant test, field tests or not?
Not at this time, Judge.
Okay, not at this time?
No, sir.
All right, very good, thank you. Okay, anything else from anyone else? Okay, all right, thank you all very much. Please take care, and we will see you all virtually for the adversary hearing again, May the 17th, Friday, May the 17th at 1:30. All right, so with that, you all are excused. I'll sign an order that comports with my ruling as soon as it's presented to me electronically. Mr. Hip, let's take about a 5-minute break before our hearing.
Judge, I know this has been reset several times, but I think without the grandmother present, I think she's going to be a key witness. However, I've attempted to reach out to her and not been able to speak with her. I don't think she's avoiding me. It's her voicemail's full, so I couldn't leave a voicemail either. I'm prepared to go forward, but I think we're going to need her. And I think the baby's placed with her. Is that correct? That in my conversation with Caseworker the other day, that was the situation. So,
like in a PCSP?
yes, I believe so.
Okay.
If I may.
You may.
Yes, the placement is not a PCSP. During the time of the investigation, we asked Ms. Alexander if she had a place to go where she could be monitored and supervised with her child, and she went to live with her mother, who's currently supposed to be monitoring and supervising her, but not a PCSP.
Okay. And is her mother Ms. Dugat?
Miss Taronda was my understanding. Miss Taronda Alexander.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you mentioning her name. I'm having trouble figuring out who Ms. Dugat is. In Dugat.
Miss Dugat is the legal guardian for mom, and I think she's actually mom's aunt. Is that correct, Kate? That's probably my name better. But
That's correct.
The reason, Your Honor, is mom is 17, so she's still a minor.
Okay. Yes. Very, very good. Thank you.
So Sierra, is that aunt guardian ad litem for your client for the purposes of these proceedings, or was she already a guardian for some other purpose?
No, I think she's I think she's her guardian because she's essentially her parent.
Did that happen before these proceedings? Do you know? Do you know when she was named as guardian?
Yeah, yes, it happened before that.
Okay. Yeah. I was like the judge. I didn't really understand how it happened. I just knew her relationship. Thanks.
Department of Family Protective Services versus Passion Alexander, Anthony Jordan, and N. Dugat. Ms. Tanner, I'm going to place you and Ms. Alexander and Mr. Gott, you and Mr. Jordan in a breakout room, give you all about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back for announcements, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so stand by. Ms. Alexander, watch your screen, if you will, please, ma'am. Let me take announcements, beginning with Mr. Hibb.
Ready.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Tanner?
Your Honor, we would announce not ready and ask to be reset. My client has a place to live, but we would need that person to come and testify that she could live there with a child.
And that person is not available today to testify?
To my understanding, no, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Gott, announcements?
Judge, we would rely on Ms. Tanner's statements and also announce not ready.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Trousdale?
Yes, Judge, I'm ready to proceed. It's my understanding this is just a petition to participate in services.
Correct.
Correct.
And so I'd like to proceed on that.
Okay. Okay, with respect, the court would overrule any request for continuance. And Mr. Hipp, you may call your first and we'll get them sworn in. The
Sure.
court will note that the parents, I'll get them to unmute, Ms. Alexander and Mr. Jordan, if you will unmute and announce your respective appearances.
What do you mean?
Or Anthony Jordan, is that you?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And now you can go back to mute. And now Passion Alexander.
You may have to push *6, Miss Alexander, to unmute.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you very much. And you did go back to mute. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Hipp, you may call your first.
Caseworker, state your name, please.
Okay, who is that? Let me swear. Is that Ms. Kelly? Okay, Ms. Kelly, yes, thank you. If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, please, and then we'll get you unmuted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
State your name, please.
My name is Kayla Kelly.
And you're the CPS investigator that was assigned to this case, correct?
Yes.
What was the nature of the allegations that you began investigating?
There was concerns of drug use by the mother and father while they're caring for the child.
Okay. And during your investigation, what did you do?
I was able to locate the mother and child at a family member's home, and we were able to put a supervision plan into place at that time. Miss Alexander didn't want to follow that supervision plan and wanted to live at a friend's house. And at that time, the baby was being supervised at her friend's house by her friend.
Objection, Your Honor, unless for hearsay, unless Miss Kelly personally has personal knowledge of this.
Okay, sustained.
Did the mother tell you that this is where the child was?
No, I went to the home.
You saw the caregiver with the baby?
I never saw the child in that home, but I saw the mother in the home.
Okay, then objection is to hearsay.
Sustained.
And so the mother wanted to live there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would object as to hearsay unless that's what the mother told her.
Yes.
All right, overruled.
And why was that not appropriate for you?
It was first established that she was going to be staying at her father's home.
Objection non-responsive.
Overruled.
Okay. Where is the baby right now?
With the maternal grandmother in her home.
Okay. And what concerns did you have about the child and the mother living in the home with the friend?
That there was a marijuana joint found.
Objection, Your Honor, as to hearsay unless Miss Kelly personally knows.
All right, sustained unless Ms. Kelly found it or one of the parents respondents told her that it had been found.
No, I was told by somebody else.
Then objection is to hearsay.
Okay. And so your concerns with the parents right now are their potential drug use, correct?
Yes, an unstable living situation.
Okay. Do they have anywhere else to live?
Objection as to no personal knowledge unless the parents have told her.
Have they told you they have another place to live?
Passion could be at her mother's house.
Objection non-responsive.
Has
Well,
she told you she could live at her mother's house?
Yes,
Okay. And that's where the baby is, right?
correct.
Okay. All right. So as long as the safety monitor's in place, you're comfortable with everything, but are you asking that the mother does services?
Yes.
Sorry. And what services are you asking that she complete?
Parenting courses, having a drug and alcohol assessment and following all recommendations at this time.
That's what you want?
Yes.
And you believe that's necessary to protect this child?
Yes.
Okay. And what has she told you when you've talked to her about this?
The last time I talked to her about this, she ignored the conversation.
She didn't respond anyway?
No.
Okay. And to your knowledge, do you know why she doesn't want to do these things?
Objection calls for speculation.
I said to her knowledge.
well, overruled if the mother told her.
No.
Okay. All right. What about for the father?
I've had minimal contact with the father.
Okay. What are you asking him to do?
The same things.
Okay. And you haven't talked to him about that either?
No.
Okay. And you believe those are necessary for the safety of the child?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tanner.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Kelly, how many conversations have you had with Ms. Alexander?
Probably about 10.
Okay. And you've seen this baby a number of times?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me this baby appears healthy?
Yes.
Does the baby appear malnourished?
No.
Any bruises, cuts, broken bones that you've seen?
No.
Okay. Does the baby appear to be well taken care of?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree with me that you've presented no evidence to this court
No,
that
she's not
shows
going to object, Judge. No, that's illegal.
what is there a legal objection, Your Honor?
Yes, I just made it. It's a
Let
legal
Mr.
conclusion of a lay
Mr. Hip finish. Mr. Hip,
It's a legal conclusion. It asks for a legal conclusion of lay witness.
sustained.
I mean, I took a 4-hour course.
Sustained.
Um,
Sustained.
Okay. So, Miss Kelly, the only quote unquote evidence that you have is a bunch of hearsay, correct?
Objection.
Nothing you've physically seen.
Objection. That is also a legal conclusion.
Sustained.
Okay. You've not physically seen any reason that this child has been neglected. You personally.
No, not me personally.
Okay. You've only heard second and third hand information. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Miss Alexander is not required to speak with you, is she? That you're aware of?
Throughout, if the case is open, yes.
So she's legally required to speak to you?
No, not legally.
Judge. That's
Okay.
the same thing. It calls for a legal conclusion.
Sustained.
Okay. And so where the child is right now, she's with her grandmother, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any safety concerns regarding where the child is?
No.
And you didn't place that child there, Miss Alexander did?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gott.
How many times have you had contact with the father?
4.
Okay. Were those in person or over the telephone, or how?
By
What was the
phone.
manner of your contact? Okay. And do you know, actually, never mind. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
Kayla, Miss Kelly, how old is Passion Alexander?
17.
And how old, if you know, is Anthony Jordan?
18 or 19.
And how old is this baby?
8 months? Around 8 months.
My baby is not 8 months, she's 6 months.
Miss Alexander, stop.
Alexander, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt, Ms. Alexander.
And what brought CPS into this case?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. You may answer.
There was concerns of drug use by both parents and unstable living conditions.
Now, have you spoken with Miss Alexander about any treatment this baby has received at the hospital?
Yes.
Did Miss Alexander express to you that she believed the baby was positive at birth for THC?
Objection calls for hearsay.
I'm asking if
and
Miss,
for facts, not in evidence.
I'm just
Overruled.
asking. Did Miss Alexander say that to you? Did she?
No.
Okay.
Well, I didn't hear the answer.
No.
Okay.
Did you speak to Anthony Jordan about this child being in the hospital?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, how many times has the child been seen by a physician since birth?
I would object as to hearsay unless she was told by the parents or has those records.
Okay, sustained unless she was told by the parents.
No.
Do you have any records of this child being seen by a doctor?
No.
Have you spoken to Miss Alexander, Passion Alexander, or Anthony Jordan about the child being seen either at the ER or by a physician, a checkup or anything?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
Yes, with Miss Alexander for checkups in the past.
And what did Miss Alexander say about, and you're talking about Passion Alexander, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what did Miss Alexander say about any checkups this child has had in the past?
I would object and I would ask for a timeline, Your Honor.
All right.
Okay, this baby is 6 months old, correct?
Yes, she was born in October.
Has Passion Alexander informed you of any doctor's appointments that this child has had since birth in the last 6 months?
Yes, but with minimal facts.
Okay. Did Miss Alexander ever express to you whether or not she took this child to the doctor at any time in the last 6 months?
No.
Did you ask her if she's been to regular appointments for the child?
No.
So the department did not inquire whether or not this child was receiving the appropriate medical care?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. You may answer.
The grandmother was taking the baby to the doctor.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Did you ever ask Miss Alexander if she attended a wellness checkup?
Yes.
And when was that?
Several months ago when the baby was first born.
And did Miss Alexander tell you that she had gone to that appointment?
Yes.
And did she stay at the appointment? If she said, do you know if she stayed for the entirety of the appointment?
No, she did not.
She did not say whether she did.
No, she didn't stay for the entirety.
Did Miss Alexander, I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't interrupt you.
Well, I think we were about to ask the same question. Did the mother tell you she did not, in fact, stay?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. Did Miss Alexander tell you why she did not stay for the entirety of the appointment?
Yes.
And what did she say was the reason she did not stay?
There was an issue between her and her mother at that appointment.
An issue? What type of issue?
They were arguing over the baby's last name.
Okay, so she stated there was an argument that got bad enough that mom left the appointment.
Yes.
Okay. If you know, was the baby able to still be seen that day despite mom leaving?
I would object unless the mother told her, Your Honor, or she has personal knowledge. Object is a hearsay.
All right, sustained unless there's personal knowledge the mother told her.
No.
Was there a time that this case was closed?
Yes.
Do you know when that was?
I would object to the witness testifying from a record that's not been entered into evidence if that's what she's attempting to do.
And Judge, I was about to ask her if she was having a look at her notes.
Well, did you hear the question, Ms. Kelly?
Yes. I didn't have the case previously, so I can't give a date.
All right.
When did you get assigned to this case?
March.
March what? Do you know?
The middle of March.
Okay. When you were assigned this case, were you provided with the case notes from the previous worker?
In our system.
Okay. So was it made a part of this file or the Alexander file, your client's file?
Yes.
And have you reviewed those notes from the previous caseworker?
Yes.
Is it your understanding that this case was closed previously?
Yes.
And then was it reopened?
Due to a new intake, yes.
Do you know when that new intake was?
The middle of March.
Okay. Is that about the time you came on the case?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the concerns you stated earlier, possible drug use and instability, was that the basis of the new intake?
Yes.
Was that the basis of the previous intake based on your review of the notes, the case file?
Yes.
And how did you respond to that new intake? What steps did you take?
Of locating the mother and child.
Okay. Where were they located?
At her father's home.
At the mother's father's home?
I'm sorry, yes. Yes, at Miss Alexander's father's home, the grandfather to the child.
The maternal grandfather's home?
Yes.
And did you found mom and the baby there, correct?
Yes.
Was the father staying there to the best of your knowledge?
No.
Right. And at that time, was the agreement for mom and the child to remain at Benjamin Alexander's home?
Yes.
Okay. Did mom and the baby remain at his home?
No.
When did they leave the home, if you know?
I would have to look at my notes.
If you know, where did mom and the child go when they left the grandfather's home?
To her friend's house.
And I would object as to hearsay unless she saw them there or mother told her.
Both. I saw Miss Alexander there and the mother told me.
Overruled.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that friend's name?
Tiffany.
And you said you visited that home?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know about when you visited the home?
The first time was that same day I made contact with Miss Alexander and the baby.
Okay. And did you discuss with her why she left her father's home?
Yes.
And did Miss Alexander tell you why she left her dad's home?
Yes.
What reason did she give?
She could have her own room at Miss Swift's house.
And did CPS agree to Miss Alexander and the baby remaining at Miss Swift's house?
Just during the day.
And so at night, was the child supposed to return to Mr. Benjamin Alexander's home?
Yes.
And to the best, if you have personal knowledge, to the best of your knowledge, did that occur? Was the baby returned each evening to Benjamin Allen's home, Alex's home, Alexander,
Mhm.
sorry.
I would object. I would object unless she has personal knowledge or the mother told her.
And that was part of my question, if you know, if she has personal knowledge.
Yes, mother told me
Overruled.
Okay, and what did mother tell you?
that they were staying at Miss Swift's house.
Did mother admit that both she and the baby were spending the night at Miss Swift's home?
Yes,
Okay. Despite the agreement with CPS that she would return the child to her father's house each night?
yes.
Okay. Was there any concern the department had with Miss Swift's home? Is there a reason why the department didn't want the child to spend the night at Miss Swift's home?
There was secondhand information.
Then I'm going to object as to hearsay.
I didn't ask what that information was. So after you spoke with Miss Alexander, or Passion Alexander, did she return the child back to the father's home? I'm sorry, Benjamin Alexander's home, Grand Portion.
No,
What did she do?
she stayed at Miss Swift's house.
And where did the baby go?
She was there at nighttime with Miss Alexander.
Did you tell Passion Alexander that the department was not in agreement with her and the baby staying at Miss Swift's?
Yes,
But she stayed there anyway?
yes.
Is that where the baby and Miss Alexander are staying now?
No, not
Okay.
the baby.
Okay. At what point did the child leave Miss Swift's home? If you know.
I would have to look at my notes for a date within a couple weeks of the intake coming in. Because we received a new intake.
Okay. You
So
received
would that, Ms. Kelly, be around early April?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, you received a new intake in April, early April. What was the concern with the new intake?
that a marijuana joint was found inside of the diaper bag at daycare.
Did you speak to Miss Passion Alexander regarding that?
Yes,
And did she acknowledge that there was a marijuana joint in the diaper bag?
no.
And how did you respond to that intake?
I went and saw the baby, and the baby was no longer allowed to go to Miss Swift's house
And where did you see the baby?
at daycare.
So daycare had been set up
Yes,
and the child was actually attending daycare.
yes.
And so at that point, when you told her the child could no longer stay at Miss Swift's house, did mom comply with that?
Briefly, yes.
Okay. So where was the child staying after that?
At Benjamin Alexander's house.
And to the best of your knowledge, how long was the child at Benjamin Alexander's house?
3 days.
Okay. And where was the child placed after that? After the child was removed from Benjamin Alexander's house, is that correct?
By Miss Alexander.
By Passion Alexander.
Yes.
Okay. And did she tell you that she removed the child from Benjamin's house?
After it happened.
Okay. And where did she say she placed the child?
At the current place now, the maternal grandmother.
Okay. And that's Tyronda Alexander.
Yes.
Okay. And when did mom say she was also staying with Miss Tyronda Alexander?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, is mom still at the maternal grandmother's house?
No.
Did mom tell you when she left maternal grandmother's home?
No.
If you know when this child is taken to the doctor, do you know who's been taking her to the doctor?
The maternal grandmother.
Objection, Your Honor, unless she is there or my client has told her. Objection is to hearsay.
Sustained unless there's one of those.
So has Passion Alexander admitted to you that her mother is the one that takes the child to the doctor?
Yes.
And you stated that the baby appears to be healthy and well taken care of.
Correct.
And whose care has this child been in primarily since the child's birth?
Your Honor, I'm going to object unless she's been told or has physically been there. Object is to hearsay.
Sustained unless the mother told her.
Did the mother tell you that? Has Passion Alexander admitted to you where her child has been at all times?
No.
Did you speak to Passion Alexander about the case history? In other words, prior to March, did you discuss the previous, the initial intake and investigation with her?
Yes.
Okay. And in your discussions with her about that intake, did y'all discuss the care of the child and where the child was?
Yes.
Did she acknowledge to you that the child was with her mother?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you that the child was anywhere else other than her mother's house during that initial period?
No.
Okay. And the child was born in October, correct?
Yes.
And you became involved in March?
Correct.
Okay. And so between October and March, based on your conversation with Miss Alexander, with mom, was the primary caregiver or where this child was placed with the maternal grandmother?
I'm going to object unless mother told her or unless she actually knows as to hearsay.
And Judge, her testimony has been that she did discuss that time period with mom, and the only caretaker mom said her.
But she didn't say that she was the primary.
I can rephrase.
Okay.
So again, based on your conversation with mom, according to mom and what she told you, this child had been living in the maternal grandmother's home from October until March, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you became involved in March, and you were aware, based on your testimony and based on your conversations and personal observations, this child was with mom at the paternal grandfather's house or Miss Swift's home for a short period of time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know when the child, did the child go to live with the maternal grandmother with this new intake? I believe was your testimony. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the beginning of April.
Yes.
Okay. So from mid-March to April, mom and the child were maybe at grandfather's house or Miss Swift's home.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, mom has never lived alone with just this child, taking care of this child all by herself, to the best of your knowledge.
No.
And has Miss Alexander ever removed this child from maternal grandmother's home while there was a safety plan in place that required the child to stay with the maternal grandmother?
Yes.
And when was that? Do you recall?
Before my case.
Okay, so reviewing the case file, was that a part of the case file?
Yes.
Now, what services are you asking? Well, strike that really quick. With regards to the father, Anthony, you said he's about 18 or 19 years old, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, have you set up a meeting with, or have you met with him, Mr.
I have
Gordon?
not.
Okay. And did you set up a meeting with him in mid-March?
Yes.
And where was that meeting supposed to take place?
McDonald's.
And did he show up?
No.
Have you attempted since that time to set up any other meetings with him or to talk to him?
Yes.
And has he responded?
No.
About how many attempts have you made since mid-March to contact dad?
It's been about 4 total.
And the contact information you have for dad, was that provided to you by the father?
No.
Who was that provided? Who provided that information to you?
Miss Alexander.
Passion Alexander?
Yes.
And Passion is 17 years old, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're aware she has a guardian ad litem?
Yes.
And what is that guardian ad litem's name?
I am not sure.
She's okay. Would that be Miss Docket?
Objection asked and answered. She said she wasn't sure.
Overruled. Ms. Kelly, after hearing the name, are you still unsure?
That is her guardian.
The guardian ad litem for Passion because she's a minor.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. Has the department made any efforts to reach out to Miss Dugat to speak to her about your concerns?
I've spoken to her once.
And where does she reside, if you know?
Dayton.
And at any point during the investigation, has mom or this child resided with Miss Dugat?
Briefly for a day, she might have.
Okay, so you're not sure.
No.
Has Miss Dugat had any other involvement in this case that you're aware of other than your brief conversation with her?
No.
Now, what services is the department asking the parents to do?
I would object as to asked and answered, Your Honor.
And I'm sorry, if so they ask specific services, I didn't get it.
Yeah, I believe they're asking for both parents, respondents, parenting classes, and to submit to a drug and alcohol assessment and follow any recommendations.
Thank you, Judge. Has Ms. Alexander provided any other names for possible placements for the child besides her mother?
In that time, her father was one when the child was there.
Has Miss Alexander expressed to you that she and her mother, has she discussed her relationship with her mother with you?
Yes.
Okay. And how does she describe her relationship with her mother?
It can be hostile.
Okay. If mother and father, especially mother, since you've had limited contact with dad, but with regards to Passion Alexander, if she has appropriate supervision, do you have any concerns for the safety of this child if if mom were to reside in the same home as the child, if there's appropriate supervision?
No.
Okay. And do you feel, based on your conversations with Passion, that she's able to live with her mom while her mom has the child?
Objection calls for speculation.
And Judge, I'm asking.
Overruled. Overruled. You may answer.
Possible.
Okay. If Miss Alexander has another home that she would like the child to be placed in where she could also live, is the department willing to look into that placement?
Yes, they would have to be vetted and looked into.
Do you think it would be in this child's best interest, given the child's age, that she have as much contact with the parents as possible?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Trousdale, okay, you pass the witness. I believe Mr. Gott just dropped off. Let's give him a moment to log back on. Ms. Tanner, you may proceed.
Yes, sir. Miss Kelly, as it stands right now, the department, you guys don't have any ability to remove or place this child, correct?
At this time, no.
Okay. So although you may not have been particularly happy with some of the people that Miss Alexander was staying with, you don't really have any say in whether she stays with them or not, does she? Do you? I'm sorry.
Where?
So in the previous, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Where Miss Alexander is staying? Or
Right, with the child. So the previous places as Miss Alexander has stayed with her child, you don't have any ability to tell her that she can or can't stay there. Is that correct? At this time?
If they're not appropriate.
You can tell her you don't agree. Is that right?
Yes.
But you can't force her to move that child, can you?
No.
Okay. And in fact, where the child currently is, you didn't place that child there. Miss Alexander did.
Correct.
Okay. Is it abnormal for a parent to place their child with a grandparent?
No.
Is it abnormal for a parent to allow the grandparents to take children to doctor's appointments?
No.
Okay. Are you wanting these services out of an abundance of caution?
Yes.
Okay. So as it stands right now, you don't have any concerns that this child is actually in danger?
Not in her current placement.
Okay. Would you agree with me that if you had had concerns that the child was actually in danger in prior placements, you would have filed an emergency removal?
Yes.
Okay. So at no time during this case have you had concerns that this child's in danger?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So at no time during this case have you had any concerns this child was in danger?
Yes, I did.
Then why didn't you file for an emergency removal?
Because appropriate placement was found.
Okay. But you'll agree with me, your prior testimony was that if you felt the child was in danger, you could have filed for a removal. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to object that
Okay.
calls for legal conclusion.
I'm asking about her prior testimony. You're muted, Judge, and I can't read your lips. I'm sorry.
Overruled.
Okay. So, I mean, you would agree with me, Ms. Kelly, that the mother and the father are young, right?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that they probably aren't making the decisions that you would make as a parent. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. But that doesn't necessarily rise to the level of the government becoming involved in their lives. Would you agree with me?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. Just because they are young and probably are not making the same decisions you would, that doesn't necessarily mean the government needs to be involved in their lives, does it?
There's other concerns.
Okay. But none that you've been able to substantiate, correct?
Correct.
You have no drug testing, is that right?
Correct.
You have no indications this child has been harmed or is malnourished, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. This child is placed with her grandmother, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And even though the mother may not be currently living there, that doesn't put the child in danger, does it?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass witness.
Thank you, Mr. Gott.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Trousdale.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kelly, the most recent intake that involved the diaper bag and the daycare, what is the disposition of that investigation?
It's still to be determined.
Okay. If you know, by way of personal knowledge, who had enrolled the child in that daycare?
It was a step grandmother.
So, Benjamin Alexander's wife?
Yes, we set up daycare on our end, but it was through the step grandmother.
Okay, if you know by way of your personal knowledge, where did the child spend the night before the incident at the daycare that gave rise to the latest intake?
Miss Swift's house.
Okay, is Ms. Swift an adult?
Yes.
Okay. And if you know, was the mother at Ms. Swift's house the morning that the child was taken to daycare?
Yes.
Okay. She had spent the night?
Yes.
Do you know whether the mother took the child to daycare or accompanied whomever did?
No, she did not. It was the step grandmother.
Okay. Did the mother tell you who packed the diaper bag?
Yes, she did.
Okay. All right. Any other questions of Ms. Kelly?
I don't have any.
Okay. All right. Was Ms. Kelly was regarding any concerning contents of the diaper bag, if any, were any tests done?
In regards to what was found,
Correct.
law enforcement said they did not test it. They just knew what it was by looking and smelling it.
And Your Honor, I can tell you that as a criminal defense attorney, there's absolutely no way they can know by smelling and looking.
Well, we were
And
all
DPS won't test him either.
So either way, it's hearsay. All right. So sustained. And Ms. Kelly, did the mother claim it, identify it for you, tell you
No.
what it, no? Was that conversation had with her
Yes.
by you? Okay. And she said what?
It was unknown where it came from.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions from anyone for Ms. Kelly? All right. Mr. Hip, you may call your next.
Call the mother.
Okay, Ms. Alexander, if you will unmute, if you will start.
And
Yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. May I have a brief break? My kid is screaming her head off. I need to go check on her, make sure
Okay,
she hasn't thrown up.
Okay, what do you need? 5 minutes?
I'm going to say 10 because she's been screaming for the last 5 minutes, so she's probably really mad.
All right, so let's 10 minutes. We'll be in recess for 10 minutes.
Thank
Where are
you.
you?
At my Uncle Ron's house
Okay, why are you there?
because
No caller.
me and my mom don't get along, and 1 minute she wants me there and the next she doesn't.
Have you been living there? At your
Yeah.
uncle's house?
Oh, yes, at my uncle's house.
You've been living there?
Yes.
For how long?
For a couple of weeks.
Has your baby been with you?
No, she's at my mom's house.
Okay. Now, when was the last time you smoked marijuana?
Yesterday.
Okay. How often do you do it?
Not often.
When did you start smoking marijuana?
Before my granny passed.
And when was that?
A couple of months ago.
A couple of months ago?
Yes.
Okay. And have you ever done any other drugs?
No.
No other drugs?
No.
Okay. And now you understand that CPS is requesting you to do a drug evaluation, correct?
Yes.
And you have a problem with doing that?
No, I've actually told the CPS lady that I was willing to take a drug test every 2 weeks to prove that I was no longer smoking, but no one ever tested me or anything. And when I was at Tiffany House, she never really came to even
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
So you don't have a problem doing a drug evaluation, correct?
And Your Honor, I don't think that my client understands what Mr. Hip is asking, as evidenced by her prior answer.
Okay. Do you have a problem doing a drug evaluation where you sit down with the counselor and talk to the counselor about your drug use?
No, I don't feel the need.
Okay. Do you have an objection to doing that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Do you have an objection to doing that?
I think Ms. Trisdale's trying to say something.
Judge Lockwood, hey, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Has Miss Docket, has she been served? I guess it's a procedural question. If I'm still a little confused as to Miss Docket's involvement, and if she's a guardian, isn't she entitled to service? I'm just concerned about, and I don't know. I'm just concerned about Miss Alexander. She's a guardian, and we're taking testimony from her, and I just wasn't sure.
Okay, let me ask Ms. Johnson. I believe it was this case, Ms. Johnson, that you said you don't have any returns back. Let's check on a first initial name, D-U-G-A-T, whether she's been served.
And Ms. Alexander, just for one brief moment, could you please mute just 1 second? We're getting a lot of background noise from the wind, just so we can clear this little bit out.
I don't have a citation return for in Docket either. All 3 citations were issued on the same day back in March with no return.
And,
All right.
and Judge, and I apologize for just bringing it up. It just occurred to me, honestly, but also we don't have any confirmation, or I haven't received any confirmation that she has a guardian. I don't know what county that would be at. If that's out of Liberty County, I can check really quick. I'm so sorry. It just occurred to me.
Okay, if you're willing and able, if you'll check.
Yes, sir. I apologize. Yes, sir. Surely she
okay.
knows of the existing guardianship. I don't have any information on it, and I don't see anything in the clerk's file. I don't know if this was just, I don't know how the department even got that information.
I can tell you how.
Oh, thank you.
Passion was removed from Miss Taronda a couple of years ago, and that case was mediated, and Ms. Docket has PMC.
Do you know what county that was done in?
Liberty County.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing if it's PMC. Is the department asking Ms. Docket to work any services?
Probably not.
Okay.
Maria?
No, Your Honor, we're not. From my understanding, Miss Passion never really lived with her. It was from what Miss Taronda told me specifically, is that is just something they agreed to get the case closed, and Passion remained in her care.
Okay, very good. Ms. Trousdale, if you don't mind kind of disclosing that additional information to Ms. Tanner.
Yes, sir. I do see a modification filed, but it doesn't say anything about that. That was in June of 2022.
Why is it you can have access to the clerk's file, but I can't?
Judge, this is the clerk, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
I seem to have found the previous CPS case that I could forward the final order to. I quick sent it to Ms. Trousdale, and I'm forwarding to everyone else.
Yes, certainly to Mr. Hip and Ms. Tanner, if you don't mind terribly. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I believe Ms. Tanner is back.
Yes, sir. And I believe that Miss Nakandra Docket is her aunt. It's her mom's sister.
Okay. And you should be getting maybe a final order from the clerk's office.
And I saw that's what Miss Trousdale had just told me. I see that.
Okay, I'm going to close out the rooms. Your client should be back here within a minute. At this point, does anyone have any further announcements or requests?
So, Your Honor, I think that because my client's mother and her aunt were both appointed as joint managing conservators, I think that they both have to be served.
I agree, Judge.
Because my client's a minor.
And it appears that Ms. Docket had the exclusive right to designate residence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so how close is the mother? I don't want to give her date of birth out, but is the mother close to being 18?
I think she just turned 17, Judge.
Okay.
She just turned 17, yes, sir.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about a reset date.
I'm so sorry I didn't flag this earlier, Your Honor. I've not, in all the time I've done this, I've not come across this type of a situation.
Well, I can't recall. I can't recall it either, and who knows? This might change the department's position relative to. I'm not going to use the term placement, but we're the baby spin.
Yeah, Judge, I think Richard, Sierra, and I were all unaware, obviously, of the history. So
don't know how I missed that, but yeah.
Well, at this point, we all know the only one with legal custody is the mother. So
yeah, I mean, and this is an old order. This is back when Matthew Poston was a private attorney. I mean, I wasn't even licensed yet, I don't believe.
How does the afternoon of the 16th sound to you all?
That'll work for me, Your Honor. I just making sure that we have enough time to serve the other two participants. Because I know the parents have already made appearances, so.
Did we just set something on the 16th, or was it this? We were talking about it.
We set Calderon on the 16th, and I believe we set something on the afternoon of the 17th.
That was where. Okay.
So I'm going to jump ahead and look. Based on what Ms. Tanner just said, I'm going to jump ahead to June the 7th. Is there an agreement to reset to June the 7th at 9 a.m.?
Oh, Judge, I'll be out of town. I have a vacation letter in place.
On June the 7th, okay.
Yes, I get back that night.
Well, the next docket is the 24th, June the 24th.
I don't think we need to go that far.
No. Let me see when I'm in chambers next. Okay, so how about June the 11th?
That'll work for me, Your Honor.
I have court in Polk County. I could do the morning, I think.
Is Polk County in person?
Yes, sir. I'm there two Tuesdays a month as public defender for the tribe. And
Okay.
they set social services cases at 11 a.m. and criminal in the afternoon. But I just received a new social services case, so I might be set for 11 a.m.
Okay, on the 11th. What about everyone? What about the 12th? Wednesday the 12th.
I'm wide open on the 12th.
That'll be fine.
Ms. Tanner, are you okay on the 12th? What about you, Mr. Gott and Mr. Hip?
It can be the morning of the 12th.
You said you're available on the morning of the 12th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hip, you're good with that?
I'll make it good.
So that is June the 12th. That's a Wednesday at 9 a.m. Is there an agreement to continue and finish this virtually?
Works for me.
On the 12th, Judge, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, on the 12th at 9 a.m. virtual. Okay, so everybody is in agreement. All right, so
You said 9 a.m., Judge?
yes, 9 a.m. All right, so the court is going to order the respondents back for that virtually for continuation of the department's motion to participate. The hearing is recessed until Wednesday, June the 12th at 9 a.m. Virtual. So that login info for Zoom on the 12th of June, that's going to be a new login number. So today's will go away. You'll need a new one, which will be disseminated to everybody well in advance of the hearing. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. If the parents agree to any services in the meantime, well, you all know what to do. So with that, please take care, and we'll see you on this case Wednesday, June the 12th, virtually at 9 a.m. So thank you all very much.